If you just joined us, this is Breakfast Central on News Central, and we are Africa First. Our start-off will be in Nigeria, where former Central Bank of Nigeria CBN Governor Chukwuma Charles Soludo has been sworn in as the 6th democratically elected governor of Anambra State. The former CBN governor, who won the November 6, 2021 governorship poll with a 112, that's 112.229, that's 112.229 on the platform of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA, was sworn in at the state government house. During his inaugural speech, Soludo had this to say. He made comments stating that he's going to make changes, especially in the state, looking at the fact that he will localize, or rather he would ensure that everything that the state will go through will be for the benefit of its citizens, and of course you could say every single person. As a matter of fact, he was going to look at making changes, as it were.
Well, looking at made in Anambra or made in Nigerian product will be placed as priority in the state. Now, to give us more update on the inauguration and what the expectations are from the new governor, we have Franklin Ebuka, who joins us now. And Franklin is a journalist based in Oka, Anambra State. Many thanks for joining the program, Franklin. Can you tell us what the atmosphere in Anambra is like at this time? I mean, we have a new governor in the state who is occupying that position in Anambra. What are Anambrarians really feeling at the moment?
Well, from what I can say, I would say that most Anambarians are actually happy that a new governor has been sworn in the person of the Professor Charles Soludo, based on his antecedents and based on what he has said ever since he was declared the winner. So expectations are very high, whether among the artisans, among the elites. In fact, everybody in Anambra State is expecting a lot from the newly sworn-in governor. Because if you look at the state, you will know that in as much as the past governor was able to achieve a number of things, there are lots of things yet to be addressed. And I must say that Anambra people are yearning for this very change, especially as it concerns one of the things he raised in his inaugural speech, which is about the touting that we do see in Onitsha. So I must say that the expectations are very huge. And I believe that he knows that many people are looking up to him.
All right, let's talk the inaugural address of the governor now. He highlighted so many things from security to infrastructure to education, and also to promoting made in Anambra goods and lots more. I particularly love the fact that he made mention of, if you're visiting the State House, you'll be served the local delicacies. But what stood out for you in that speech?
Well, a whole lot actually stood out in that very speech because he touched a number of things. I'll begin with the touting because that is an area that has affected business in Anambra State, especially in Onitsha. In as much as the past government failed to admit that in some cases, but we who live in Anambra State, we know that it's somehow dangerous to go to Onitsha, to get something either as somebody who lives in the state or somebody who came from outside the state. It's been very difficult. In most cases, we have seen clashes between tricycle riders and this very tout who collect these very fees in the name of government. We have everybody seen individuals get into scuffles with these very people. You see drivers getting their windscreen destroyed and the like. So saying that he was going to sign an executive bill which would stop every revenue window until when they have been able to put in place a system that will enable transparency. That is one area that stood out. Then another area is he talked about the agitation in the Southeast, where he talked about people who are agitating for freedom, but he was able to point out the fact that it's been hijacked. Some arsonists, rapists, criminals have, they hide under the guise of agitation to perpetrate evil in the Southeast, whereby almost every fortnight you get to hear about killings here and there. And he talked about the plan he has to synergize with other Southeast leaders, the governors, and then even the traditional rulers, for them to be able to see how they can talk with the federal government to ensure that they get to address this. So that is very significant. Then he also talked about the made in Anambra thing, where in fact he's already living the example because the people he came with, we all saw it, made by Innocent, and he's been adorning Akwete, right? Even before he was declared the governor, she's been adorning that very Akwete, and already the shoe he wore to the swearing in too, made in Anambra State. So I must say that a lot of things actually stood out. If you take time to read from the beginning to the end of that very speech he delivered, There is nothing in that speech that is not remarkable.
I'll work every day to make you proud. The exact words of the newly sworn in governor. I mean, he also made mention of the judicious use of taxes in the country. And as a former CBN governor, a lot is being expected of him. Now, just hours after he was sworn in, he has gone ahead to make 3 key appointments: Secretary to the State Government, Accountant General, and Deputy Chief of Staff, or as we know it, State Chief of Protocol. What are Anambrarians saying about this appointment?
If you look at the names that you mentioned, like Chinedu Nwoye, who served in the transition committee, I once had an interaction with him, and also had interaction with some other persons who know him, and they call him Mr. Capacity, that somebody who undoubtedly can discharge that very responsibility. Then you look at the SHT, Professor Soludo, he served under the government of the past governor. He was one time in UK as a lecturer before he was brought back to Anambra State to help in the government. And I must say that in the past government, we didn't hear anything about him. And for him to have retained him shows that the new governor has some level of trust in some of the people that work with the past government. And perhaps it's a way to ensure that there's a continuity and then to sustain that friendship. Therefore, we cannot question the judgment of Soludo. Right from the one, he made it clear that it's only people who have capacity, people who can deliver, people who have something new, people who have value to give to Anambra State, that he is going to get into his cabinet. And even that during his inaugural speech, he made it clear that in a few hours he was going to announce a few number of people who are going to join his government, and he did that. So we're expecting that in the next 1 week, like he said, that he's going to send the list of his commission nominees to the State House of Assembly for confirmation. We know that he created a talent bank where he asked everybody who was interested in serving his government to go there, submit their CV, talk about the value they can bring to the state, and then he and his team will be able to choose those they deem fit enough to serve in government. One thing I have heard him say all the time, and I'm looking forward to that, is this: he has maintained that what he wants to bring about is disruptive change, to change the status quo, to change the trajectory, to change the face of governance, because governance, the way we have known in Nigeria, is like a bazaar. But he is saying that what I want to bring is going to come with some things. Some people are going to kick against it, but at the end of the day, it is for the interest and good of people of Anambra State, and I'm looking forward to that.
Well, you've talked about it being a government of change, but Governor Soludo is indeed well-read, as we know, exposed, and definitely he has his work cut out for him, being a former CBN boss. But what are your expectations from his government in the next 4 years, lastly?
Okay, first of all, let me talk about an area which is dear to me, and he has equally emphasized that: urban renewal. In fact, this morning, he will be on his way to Oboki. Oboko is a slum which houses, the good, the bad, the ugly. And he intends to clean up that very area. I don't know how he's going to do it, because it's going to take a whole lot of will and grit. He's going to, if he's going to clean Oboko, it's going to take a lot of, stepping on toes, doing the unthinkable, and then getting people who live there to change their attitude to life. So I would love to see that happen, even in Oka, where we stay too. Urban renewal is needed. We also need to see law and order being restored to the state, where some level of sanity will be back to the state. So I'm looking forward to this. And also then the development of infrastructure. Oka is still a glorified city. It has not attained that very status of, capital city in the modern century that he has talked about, the megacity he wants to build. So I'm expecting to see this in the government, and the most importantly, transparency and accountability in the use of public funds, because this is what every government that knows its onion must emphasize at all times, and ensure that it is given the utmost attention.
All right, Franklin, just before we let you go, I mean, just yesterday it was a breaking story that the outgoing governor, Governor Willie Obiano, former Governor Willie Obiano, was arrested at the airport. Can you bring us up to speed as to what really ensued?
All we can say now, because it's still very sketchy, though I heard from sources this very morning that, there were discussions yesterday that he might be free very soon, but I cannot confirm that totally. The discussion I had yesterday. But all we could say is that after that very inauguration that happened yesterday, we know that there was a fracas between the wife and then the wife of the former leader of APGA, Anambra State. And after that, everybody they went their way. We were thinking that they were inaugurating, having some mini celebration, only for us to hear late in the night that he was arrested by the EFCC. So the information regarding the arrest for now is not all that in the public domain. But we are watching this space to see what develops from here.
All right, thank you so much, Franklin, for joining us all the way from Awka in Anambra State. I recall that you definitely were eyes and ears during the election period, and you've kept at it, ensuring that we also get the latest from you concerning the swearing in. I would have loved to ask you the question on the ladies. I'm talking about former wife of the governor, former wife, or I'd say the wife of the former governor, I beg your pardon. And of course, we know that it didn't look really good, especially for Nambarians. But how did you take that? Slap, fisticuffs, and so on ongoing at a grand event like that?
Yes, it was a sad commentary, I must say, because that very incident swallowed every good thing that Soludo said during his inauguration. He swallowed the highlights we should have taken from that very event. I must say, personally, somebody from Anambra State, I was disappointed because that was what every media was talking about, even to this very moment. It went like a wildfire. So I felt disappointed that in as much as they were having differences, they should have found a way to stomach it. When they are outside the public or the public eyes, they can have whatever, they can find whatever means to celebrate the differences because the cameras were on there. And I don't know how they all threw caution to the wind and they engage in that very stuff. So for me, it was a sad commentary for Anambra State.
Well, we need to let you go now. Thank you so much, Franklin Ebuka, for joining us. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.